Hi Ed.
Good morning.
It's National Employability Day and we'd love to get insight into all things construction. As contracts manager at Skillcrown, could you let us know more about your role?
So let me start by saying first of all that the construction industry is a fantastic place to work. I've been involved in the industry now for 15 years that I've really enjoyed. Really broad spectrum of opportunities. Being a contracts manager is effectively the construction lead for a business in making sure that the products that we build for our clients are constructed and delivered to them on time. They're delivered safely. Safety is a very important part of our industry. And also to make sure that the quality of what the product and the houses and the apartments that we're building meets the expectations of the people that eventually will move into them and make them into their family home. So on site we normally have a site manager who would be the day-to-day manager of the site, who would be responsible for looking after the various trades, making sure that they were working in the right places at the right times. And my job is to really support them in the background and liaise with them to make sure that they've got the information that they need in terms of drawings, make sure that they've got the subcontractors available to them when they want to start the works, and generally just making sure that bits that maybe they don't see, I pick up as a second pair of eyes in the background so that we're always kept on the right path.
That's great. Like you said, construction is a big industry. What are the different trades someone can get involved in?
So I always look at this in two different ways. There is a path for management and technical people, and there is a path for more hands-on individuals that want to be involved in a trade craft. So let's start with trade crafts first of all. So there's always the usuals that everyone would think of: bricklaying, carpentry, plastering, electronics, electrical, and plumbing, mechanical. All of those require a apprenticeship, so you come in at a stage in your life where you want to now grow into a trade path, and you work with a contractor as an apprentice on site, and usually that's supplemented with some time at college. All of the trades are rewarding, they're expanding trades. In fact, without exception, all of our sites will have bricklayers, will have carpenters, will have plasterers and dry liners, and will have electricians and plumbers. So there's always going to be an opportunity for those trades in our industry. But if you want to think a bit beyond that, there are other avenues that you could pursue. So things like groundworks and civil engineering. All of our projects need work in the ground, so foundations, drainage, in some cases piling. So there's always an opportunity there to try and explore that as a career path. And there are some others, like for example concrete frame, steel fixing, steel erection, and some more bespoke trades like specific ventilation, kitchen fitting, and the finishing touches, things like decorations and flooring. So I think it's really down to what takes your fancy, and then exploring that with a careers advisor, exploring that with, I don't know, perhaps some people that you know maybe that work doing that sort of role in the industry already, and just get a feel for what you think that you'd like to do. So secondly, the other career path I think it'd be beneficial for me to outline to you is a management and technical role. So I didn't come from a trade background. I went to school and did GCSEs. I then went to sixth form and did some A-levels, and then I went to a university and studied construction management. So I joined the construction industry as an assistant site manager for a housing developer 15 years ago, and I developed my career through that. So I worked as an assistant site manager. I gained a lot of experience very quickly. I then worked as a site manager, a senior site manager, a project manager, and now I'm lucky enough to have managed to work my way up to being a contracts manager. It's a very, very stressful and demanding role because you have a lot of responsibility, whether you're an assistant manager or whether you're a contracts manager. there are two golden things that we always keep in the forefront of our mind when we manage our sites. Everyone has to go home at the end of the day. So we have to make sure and be vigilant at all times that our work areas are safe and what we're asking the guys to do is appropriate. And secondly, we have to coordinate and bring together so many different personalities in guys that work for trades, architects, engineers, our senior management. So we have to be very calm and relaxed people. So the point and the emphasis I want to put on, do you want to be a construction manager? Are you an empathetic person that will consider all the time, is everyone going to be safe on my site? And secondly, are you good with people? Can you coordinate different personalities and bring them together and try and get along with everyone? Second part of that is a bit beyond my knowledge and experience, but roles that are relevant to the construction industry, which are architects, engineers. So along with construction management, there are other branches, career paths to be involved in the construction industry that you should explore.
You've mentioned some real good stuff there. What is an average day on site for you at Skillcrown?
So every single day is different, and every single day will bring its own challenges, and every single day will bring its own difficulties. So generally, sites start at 7 o'clock in the morning. The site manager will arrive. If I'm visiting site that day, I'll join them about that time. Obviously, we're in the midst of the coronavirus at the moment, so it's slightly different in that generally we would meet first thing on site, and we would just grab a cup of tea and sit down and for 10 minutes talk about the football or whatever it is that's happened the night before, and then start to talk about what we've got happening during the day. So the first half an hour of the day, the senior site manager in charge of the scheme along with myself would sit down with the site managers and the finishing foreman. We'd look at what we were doing that day, we'd go through our programs and through our schedules and see what we needed to achieve and what we needed to do, and then we'd allocate tasks to everyone. Going beyond that, we then have what we call a safe start in the morning, which is where we have all of the trade supervisors come and join us outside the office. At the moment we're all stood 2 metres apart, so the site manager has to shout, and discuss with them what we were expecting them to do today. In that meeting as well, I've talked about safety before, but it's important that we do that on a daily basis, because we might be doing some high risk activities on the site. For example, we might be lifting something particularly awkward with the tower crane, or we might be digging some excavations for high voltage cable connections. So we would want to communicate that to everyone on site and make them aware of that. So we'd do that during that morning briefing. Then generally the next few hours up till about lunchtime we spend out on site, out in the field as we call it, walking through the units, walking through the houses, walking through the apartments, checking that things were being done in the correct way, they were to the correct standard, using the correct materials. Some of the bigger schemes we've got, where we've got over 100 units, that takes slightly longer, and personally I wouldn't have the time with the project manager to look at every unit. So we kind of break that up and everyone would take an area or a floor. In some of the smaller schemes we've got, which are a lot nicer, because I can spend more time walking around the whole thing with the guys, we'd probably walk around the whole site, get a feel for where we were on the programme, making sure that this is where we said we were going to be, have we achieved that? If not, what do we think we can do to be able to achieve for the next week? So that would lead us till about lunchtime in most cases. Then a lot of the trades would be coming off of the site to go and take their own lunch break. So that would be a time normally that the managers would get together in the canteen or the site offices and take a break themselves. Afternoon generally comprises of updating the information that we've collected from our walk round in the morning, and is a time where our managers can chase and communicate with stakeholders, for example service companies, architects, engineers, contractors, over things that we need to happen or things we need to plan in the future. Emailing is a massive tool in our business. Everything really needs to be recorded on an email, because we have so many conversations throughout the day. A lot of the time people just naturally forget things because there's only so much you can hold in your brain at once. So the site managers will then record conversations throughout the day on email, just to make sure everyone knows what they're doing. And then the latter half of the day, the managers will be back out on site, making sure that the work that was supposed to have happened during the day had happened, making sure that everything had been left safe, and then making sure all of the units are locked up, the scaffolding's safe, there's nothing, potentially someone could come in overnight and hurt themselves because an excavation's not barriered off or a scaffolding's incomplete. And normally that would lead into the natural conclusion of the day with the guys going off site and going home, and then the site manager sort of locking up and leaving.
Thank you, Ed, for a great overview of construction.
No worries, guys. Hope to see you on site soon.